We cuddled in the front parlor of Keeler's cozy cottage, where Eileen was living with 19 other co-eds. On that Sunday evening, not a date night, we had the room all to ourselves, holding each other so close that the thinnest sheet of unskimmed paper could not have passed between us. We were painfully aware of the 10 o'clock curfew just a few minutes away. The next morning, I would be sitting on a train going back to Chicago while my girlfriend continued her studies at the University of Illinois. Miss Sweet Georgia Keeler, a native of Atlanta, was a single lady in her early 60s. Rumor had it that she had once been married, but no one could confirm that legend. A fervent believer in the old-fashioned virtues, she ran the sorority with an iron fist and made sure the girls never stepped out of line. Slender, of modern height, with dazzling white hair, she carried herself with a dignified air of a proud Southern belle. You could imagine her in Gone with the Wind, clinging to the symbols of the Confederacy as it crumbled around her feet. Maybe I should read to the end.
No, if you want Kathy to take over, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you want Kathy to take over, or if you feel your voice is still good, that's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Some of the girls swore that they occasionally spied a male visitor slip in and out the back door late at night. It's strange. All right, here's a word for me. Credulity? Credulity? C-R-E-D-U-L-I-T-Y. Couldn't you have used another word? That prim and proper Miss Keeler could be carrying on in such a manner. I can't stand the thought of your leaving, Eileen said, as the hands of the clock approached the dreaded 10 mark. I know, but they're really strict about the curfew around here. Miss Keeler would have me strung up by my you know what, without the chance of a pardon. But there must be a way. Damned if I know. You're the creative one around here. Come up with a plan, and I'm all ears. If you cared enough, you'd figure out something yourself. Ooh. I sensed the suppressed tears in her quivering voice. Honey, you know I want to stay, but I'm just being practical. Fine, leave it to me then. It's not worth the risk, sweetheart. I'll be back next weekend. Hush, don't disturb my concentration. I held my tongue, trembling at the prospect. Such a scheme would place her in serious jeopardy. She had a way of making even the most bizarre intrigues sound plausible. I'm still thinking, she reported. I leaned forward on the edge of the couch. I've got it, she whispered suddenly. Why didn't I think of it sooner? It couldn't be simpler. Shoot. At exactly 10 o'clock, you walk out the front door. We kiss and make a big production out of saying goodbye. I leave it unlatched. A few minutes later, you come back in. That is the most harebrained idea you've come up with yet. It's much too dangerous. If we get caught, you'll be expelled faster than I can say Sweet Georgia Brown. Come on, don't you ever take chances? Live a little for once. You're out of your cotton-picking mind. Do you want to endanger your school career, your entire future? Your parents would be devastated. What will you tell your friends back in St. Louis if you're thrown out of school for lascivious conduct? You have no spirit of adventure. Miss Keeler goes to bed at 9 o'clock and on the dot and sleeps like a log. All we have to do is talk softly. It's a sure thing. Trust me. Have I ever steered you wrong? Truth be told, she had an impeccable track record in the 3 months we had known each other. No matter how absurd her schemes, they had always worked their magic. But I wasn't ready to concede yet. You know, I want to stay here with you, but we have too much to lose. I'd never forgive myself. Oh, come on, you're just a scaredy cat. Scaredy cat. An old poop. Okay, I give up. Win. You're no fun. She had touched a raw nerve. All right, but I don't like it. That's my boy, she said, snuggling up even closer. The plot worked just as Eileen had foreseen, and we were back in each other's arms just a few minutes after 10, with me only half convinced that we had put one over on the powers that be. If successful, it would be an historic coup that could be passed down to future generations of ardent lovers. Feeling proud of ourselves, we suddenly heard a loud voice on the second floor. Is there a man in the house? We were thunderstruck. Had she really heard our murmured endearments? The voice from on high repeated, Is there a man in the house? I sat there paralyzed, but Eileen pushed me in the direction of the piano. I crawled behind it and tried to make myself as small and as invisible as possible. When the coast was clear, she sneaked out of the parlor and tiptoed to her room. If discovered, she could always say she'd gone back down to retrieve a book, compact, or tube of lipstick. The next question was whether it was safe for me to come out. Presumably, I enjoyed a kind of diplomatic immunity since I was no longer a student, but Eileen would be in serious risk. Just as I was about to abandon my hiding place, our inquisitor called out once more, Is there a man in the house? I was petrified. If she came into the room and glanced over at the corner, I was dead in the water. I was already about to go down in the Guinness Book of Records for the longest breath-holding stint in history. Finally, the voice fell silent. After an agonizing half hour, I crept towards the front door and snuck out. Good morning, sweetheart, Mrs. Keeler said to Eileen at breakfast the next morning. You know, I had the strangest dream last night. Pardon me. A man was clinging for dear life to the foot of a piano with Georgia pines swaying in the background. It was all so real. I can't get it out of my mind. But then again, I've always had a rather quaint imagination.